Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you with another video. The Lakers, of course, went into Ball Arena, I believe is what they call it, in Denver, and played the Denver Nuggets tonight. Um, and, when you think the team has reached its lowest point, they just grab a shovel and just keep on digging. This is yet another one of those type of situations here. At one point, the Lakers were down by 42 points. Yeah, it was 42-point spread at one point. I believe the score at the end was like 133 to 97, I believe it was. It had gotten so ridiculously bad at one point that the Lakers had trotted out Trevor Ariza to put on Jokic tonight. Like, there was literally a sequence where we intended for Trevor Ariza to guard Jokic. And naturally, Jokic shot over him, scored with ease. You know, everything that I needed to say in regards to my sentiment has already been said 100 times over. If you want to check some of the videos I made earlier today, they'll break down the entire sentiment. Nothing's changed. I don't feel any more or any less intense about it. It's all the same feeling. This game did nothing for me in terms of my mindset. Nothing. This is, I would be lying. Unfortunately, I would have to tell the truth and say I didn't expect the game to be this bad. I'm kind of ashamed of myself because I should have said on camera that this was a possibility, but I said the spread would probably be about 8 points. I thought we would go in here, put up a valiant effort. What I didn't expect was for Denver to shoot the way that they did. I mean, they only missed one free throw. They shot above 50% from both the field and the three. They were one 3-point shot shy of their franchise record. So they came into their home arena, knew they were going up against a Laker team that was going to give them every opportunity to strike. And some of those players they just took advantage. Nikola Jokic, obviously the super duper star that he is, played super duper. He didn't have to score a whole lot tonight, but he did rebound, he did assist super high and got himself a triple double. And guys like Bones Highland made a name for himself tonight. Najee, a guy by the name of Najee I'd never heard of, pulled down 11 big boards, was very emphatic about how he moved. Another guy by the name of Reed, of whom else I had never heard of, had a really nice game. Jeff Green, yes, Jeff Green, the Jeff Green, looked like he was 22 years old out there tonight, just scoring and jumping and flying. I don't know what fountain of youth Jeff Green has found in Denver, but it's working. It is absolutely working. He looks better than he did. He ain't looked this good to me since OKC. I kid you not. That was the last time I seen Jeff Green look as good as he did tonight. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Lakers could have been at full speed with Anthony Davis and a bunch of other good players, and we still could have lost tonight because wasn't nobody stopping the Denver Nuggets from shooting the basketball the way they were tonight. They would have beat anybody. They'd have beat the Nets. They'd have beat anybody. Phoenix, all of them. So tonight was just the Denver Nuggets night. And at the same exact time, you had the Los Angeles Lakers who couldn't throw a rock in the ocean. Confidence low. Everybody turning the ball over, blowing the ball off their foot. LeBron James constantly getting stripped. Complaining to the referees instead of getting back on D. Even on good defensive sequences, we would get blocks and stuff like that, but they would still be able to recover the rebound, tip it back in because we didn't have anybody trailing. We played Dwight. I give the coach credit for starting Dwight tonight. Dwight was questionable, but did give it a valiant effort. But ultimately, he did not have his greatest night. Had some bad defensive sequences, stuff like that. Didn't help his cause. So I can't say us going small was the only thing going on, because even when we were going big, we were still terrible. You look up and down the stat sheet, nobody really did anything tonight. Braun had 20-something points, but some of our other guys, they didn't really have it. Nobody really. Westbrook scored 19 points. You got to appreciate that. Kept our turnovers down as a team. I think we only walked out of there with 10 turnovers, so you got to feel okay about that. We matched their rebounding total. So, we felt pretty good about playing Dwight Howard and getting offensive rebounds, stuff like that. You can see sequences where having size on the floor definitely helped. But at the same time, we just got blown out by a team that just was not missing much of anything, really. They just didn't miss. And we weren't playing D. and we weren't able to hit shots. You know, we shot under 45% from the field, missing layups, missing everything. Uh, didn't shoot the three ball very well. I think we were 33% or something like that from three. Just a very bad shooting night for the Lakers and a very good shooting night for the Nuggets. And when you put them two things together, needless to say, there's going to be scores going in the opposite direction. So that's exactly what we had. That's exactly what we had. Like I said, Bones Highland was a guy that just really jumped off the screen. He just continued to hit threes, doing pirouette spin moves, and just putting on his full display of what it is he could do. He reminds me of and I say Jamal Crawford minus the handle because I'm not going to say he reminds me of Jamal Crawford in terms of his handle, but in terms of how wiggly he plays, in terms of his, the way he shoots, some of the shot selection, stuff like that, just kind of reminds me of a big Jamal Crawford. That's what he reminds me of. And he goes all in. That dude put up, I think he had like 10 rebounds on top of his 27 points or something like that. Just a very major game from a guy who I know can play. That's somebody's name who I wish I would have mentioned earlier today. I just thought that he was probably hurt or in health and safety because last I checked, that's what was going on. But he was available tonight, and boy, was he. He definitely showed out. So, yeah, man, Campazzo filled up the box score. Didn't double-digit any one particular category, but had like 5, 8, 6 or something like that. So he was able to help them off the bench quite a bit after coming off a really, really spectacular game that he had in the previous one for his team. So I had him on my scouting report, and he was just kind of complimentary out there. But I tell you, Denver is a team that's going to be a lot better going forward. From what I understand, they're in the middle of a nice homestand, and if they're playing like this throughout that homestand, they're going to move up the charts a little bit for the next couple of weeks. So keep them in mind. I think this is the type of a catalyst basketball game that could send them outside of their slump that they've been in for a little bit. So just like I always say, when you're struggling, whether it be a player or a team, all you need is a date with the Lakers. They're going to help you get up out of that. And that's exactly what you saw tonight. Lakers helped the Denver Nuggets out quite a bit. They were playing great. We had their players looking fantastic. So, yeah, that's what I want to say. Congratulations to the opponent. As far as the Lakers, bad teams do as bad teams do. It ain't really a whole lot to say. We're a bad team with a bad roster, with bad coaching staff. The coaching staff, it's one of those situations where when you have limited stuff, you got to have people in place that's going to be able to get the most out of it. What we have is a coaching staff who is going to continue to use the names rather than go with conventional solutions for these issues. So, for example, like he played Trevor Ariza at the power forward tonight, as we said, trying to guard Jokic and stuff like that. That's never gonna make Trevor look good. Trevor's gonna be looked at for his struggles because of the circumstances coach put him in. You look at Stanley Johnson. Stanley Johnson's a player who's played nothing but good for you. Why aren't you using him? He ain't done nothing but play good for you. This is one of those situations where you got to ask Frank Vogel, are you looking to have success? Or are you just looking to not be blamed by people who you have to look in the eye every day? Because that's what it looked like to me is going on there. Where he just don't, he playing the politic game all the way. I'm playing whoever Braun want out there. I'm playing all the older guys. And that's it. But my thing is, are you putting those older guys in situations where they can succeed? Because if you're not really doing them any favors by playing them. And that's a question you got to ask yourself when you sit up there trying to acquiesce to what makes, everybody happy. It's like, they're going to blame you for why they don't look good out there. And it will be your fault. So, good luck with that strategy, Frank. I think the put your foot down, be a man strategy is a bit better one for me personally. Because I think that's ultimately where you're going to get the most leverage. Because as long as you continue to acquiesce with whatever the heck they're asking you to do without any complaint, you're just going to be the scapegoat for why it doesn't work. And we all know you ain't why this ain't working. But I'll leave it at that. As far as I could tell, LeBron seems happy. He's getting his numbers. I don't know what to tell him. I mean, he didn't have the greatest game tonight, in terms of, they were having a lot of success against him. He had moments where he was just getting overpowered by those young players, as did the rest of the team, but particularly him. They were stripping the ball, trying to do certain things. Just wasn't happening tonight. When you're going up against hungry young players that don't play a lot, Guys who know they're good but just have not had a chance. And judging by the way the Denver Nuggets have handled the Bol situation, I'd imagine the rest of their bench probably feels like they could do more than they've been able to show too. No telling what else is going on there. You look at a guy like Reed and Najee, them dudes didn't care nothing about no LeBron James. They didn't care nothing about the mystique of a Dwight Howard. They know they are in better physical shape than the Los Angeles Lakers, and they were overpowering them dudes. And you saw situations where, you know, Aaron Gordon, and Russell Westbrook got into it for no other reason, and he just overpowered Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook tried to plow into him and wasn't able to move him, and Westbrook went to the floor and got up mad. It's like, bro, Gordon didn't do nothing to you. He stood his ground like he's supposed to because he's a bigger player in better shape, and that's not. It ain't deeper than that, you know. And that's pretty much what I saw. I saw younger, faster, more capable bodies out there beating up on older, slower, less capable bodies out there, and that's the story of our season. When you want to go old and you want to play the politic game, and I want to play with all my buddies, this is what you get. You get Trevor Ariza trying to guard Nikola Jokic. This is what you get. So hey, that's what they want. That's what they have. And you know, my point of view as a fan is just a helpless one. I'm looking at this fall apart. I know what they need to do to fix it. I know no one's going to do that, and it is what it is. We're just going to watch the ship fall enough. And that's that. You know, it's like being on the Titanic. You know it's sinking. You're just going down with it. That's it. You know, my solution would be to trade everybody for picks and young assets. Everybody. Bron, AD, and Westbrook if at all possible. All of them. Why Bron? Because he's not his value is about as high as it's ever going to be. You know, and judging by the fact that we have him running center out there, he probably ain't even going to make it through the season. You know, we got him plowing up against some of the biggest and baddest in the league. It's January. You want him to be able to pull this through June and then get and all that? Nah, it's not realistic. And then you got him coming back next season with the same core because you can't do nothing with Westbrook. So chances are it's going to be him, Westbrook, and AD, and whatever you can scrounge together again. And judging by how we put this team together, I don't have a whole lot of faith that we're going to put together a better one next time with the same amount of cap space. Maybe you got a better chance of moving Westbrook next season than you do right now. But by then, how far down the road are you? What is it? Year 20 for Bron? I don't know. I feel like you may get to a point at that point where you're thinking what I'm thinking now. And you could have got a lot more for him now. You feel me? That's just what I know. His value is about as high as it's ever going to be. So that's what I would do. And I know no one's going to do that. So I'm just going to watch my team go to the dumps and pray I'm wrong. Pray that my projection of doom and gloom is not nearly as bad. That maybe we can acquire assets some miraculous way that I don't see. Pull a rabbit out of the hat or something. But as long as Westbrook's on the team, I don't foresee us being able to get good enough. We may be able to get some players, we get lucky, draft some guys somehow. I don't know how you do that without picks, but maybe we acquire picks some way. And see, that's another thing. It's like you look at the assets we have. It's like not only did you put together a team that was hard to sustain, but then you surrounded them with stuff that you couldn't use to flip to get better. Like I look at the Denver Nuggets, team we saw tonight. They're almost in the exact same boat as us. They got their number one superstar out there healthy playing at the MVP level. And then their number two and the number three guy that they paid, those guys are out with injury. Right? They got the same exact issues we have. And I don't want to zoom in on one game because they've had their struggles just like we have. But look how much different they look than we did. And the reason being is because their players are more valuable. They have more tangible role players, more tangible assets. And it's not because they spent more or any less money than the Lakers. They just put together better ones. Out of the pool of the $1 million, $2 million, $3 million guys, they picked better ones. We chose all the guys that have fluff to their names that used to play for the Lakers back in 08 and 09 and thought that we could be really, really clever by putting all those names together. That was stupid. self-destructive, and ultimately why we suck so bad. Those names can't be flipped for anything, not even as much as a second round pick. So that's the difference between us and the Nuggets. They can go and flip Bones Highland for a pick if they want to. They can go take Aaron Gordon and turn him into, a couple players of some sort if they choose, even though his contract's not very good. They have assets. Even Jeff Green has played his value up as opposed to our assets who have played their value down. That's the difference. It's just the choices you make with little cap space you have. It ain't just the fact that you have very little cap space. It's the choices you make with it. It's how you handle the limited stuff that you got. That's why Frank Vogel, is parallel what we're talking about. He ain't handling that very little stuff very well. You got to run your best players. You got to give yourself conventional lineups. When you have your roster half out for most of the season, you can't be running unorthodox small ball bullcrap lineups, especially when you don't even have the roster to dignify doing so, for which you do not to begin with. Trying to ask players who are not in a position to do things to do those very things. A LeBron run center, and it's mostly the center position. AD, please run center. You don't see this man can't rebound like that? You don't see that he's injury prone as hell? You got him running center? Bron, year 19, since he's been with us, he's missed more games in a Laker uniform than he's missed in his entire career. And y'all want to heap more pressure on him? It's just stupid as hell. The year that you got all that going on plus COVID-19 protocol stuff, you want to add a third superstar who happens to be 33 years old, who happens to not be a good fit, who happens to can't shoot, continues to pass the rock in ways that give the team turnovers instead of production, and then you top that off with what is attached to him, which is a contract that is literally one of the worst ever signed. And you thought it would be a good idea to give away tangible assets, ascending in value, by the name of Kyle Kuzma, KCP, and Trez, guys who are literally going to get better because they're away from you. You gave them that for something that you knew when acquiring it you would not be able to get rid of. And Russell Westbrook's contract. It was understood before we even made the trade that once we did, we wouldn't be able to let go of it. And that's something you welcomed into your situation. And people wonder why I want to blow this thing up. Who am I supposed to believe in? Where do I hang my hat on to say this is a good idea? Let's go forward without any assets and let's see if this is going to work. I don't trust anybody in the organization to be able to handle that right now. After LeBron were to leave or retire or get hurt or whatever the heck's going to happen with this dude. As soon, and I mean as very soon as he retires, we're going to be one of the worst teams in the league. And the sad thing is, that's exactly what we are today with him. And I guess we're asking for AD to come back and solve all of our problems. Like he did to start the season, right? Playing center position because I was such a raging success with this pack of players. And everybody's going to bring up 2020. And Vogel was a coach with the 2020. Listen closely. If you're a casual fan, you think that way, this is the reality of it. AD and Bron are not the problem in an isolated vacuum. We all know that. You can take AD and Bron and put them on any franchise in the league. If you got enough good players around them, they can win a championship. It's already been proven. That's not the problem. The problem is them two by themselves can't do it. Them two by themselves with Frank Vogel will have trouble doing it. Them two by themselves with Russell Westbrook means they can't get better. That's all that means. It means that his $40 million must be other players. And because they cannot be other players, you're asking those two to do too much and work against his mistakes, which are, overcomable. You can't overcome those. That's the word I'm trying to use. They're unavoidable, I guess is what I'll say. They're going to happen. His turnovers, his missed shots, it's going to happen. So the only real solution I see is the same one I've been telling you guys, and that's bite the bullet, recognize your circumstance, sell Bron high. Get picks for him because you can get a lot of them for him. Do the same thing with AD because you're not going to send one of them away. You send them both away. You live with that. You breathe and understand that you got one championship out of 3 years. And that's a good thing. And you got out of the LeBron James sweepstakes before it hit the ground. You didn't find yourself staying on that ride too long. At 37 years of age and year 19, you don't stay on that train too long. You don't wait for that thing to break down before you get off of it. And that's how I'm viewing the situation. And as far as Russell Westbrook, well, you're stuck with him, but only for 2 years. And if you acquire the assets necessary, when that contract expires, after he done drove your tank into the ground, and believe me, you ain't winning more than 20 games with a team with him, just him on it. He ain't winning nothing. We've proven that. He gonna drive us straight into our first pick, second pick in the draft in them 2 years. And we'll have the assets on top of it to represent what it is that we're lacking, because obviously we don't get that pick anyway since we gave it to New Orleans, whoever the hell. But at least we would have somebody else's picks for which we can build with. As to which you can live with the fact that you suck, because at least you're going to come up with all of the cap space that you need for the summer of 2024. Who knows who'll be free, I ain't checked. But at least you'll have assets that you've acquired in regards to trading away those super duper stars. You should have all the picks in the world. Your pick of the litter and all these different players that will come to you over the next several years because you'll have cap space from which you have managed properly, undoing all of this madness that we have here in 2022. That's my plan. Fix our problems, give us a future. We can start our rebuild properly, having celebrated the championship in 2020 for all of this. But if we stay on this ride and let it do what it's going to do, Bron's going to ride off into the sunset, either a champion or a failure, and we're not going to have any picks. We're not going to have any future. We're going to be hoping somebody takes our bag, as to which we'll have no infrastructure to attract them. There's nothing to make them stay here. Why you want to come here? Lakers ain't got no picks, ain't got no players. Why you want to be here? You know, it's just, nah. You're going to have to do this anyway. That's what I'm saying. The question is, what foundation will you have when this begins? Will you be working with assets and having done it on your own, having initiated this process? Or will you fall into it and have no assets and have to build your way out of it? I'm telling you, man. That's what it is. That's what the Lakers are dealing with, and they know it. They know that. So, that's what I see. This game was irrelevant. It's a bad team, lost a bad game. What else is new? The bigger picture is, when is Jeannie going to see this entire picture, what I've been talking about all day long? When is she going to say, you know what? This is the truth. Either I'm going to sell high on Bron, or he's going to ride off into the sunset and leave me with nothing. He's done it to 2 other franchises. You going to be the third? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just too smart to let that happen. My name is BDF44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.